Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, Clubhouse. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, LinkedIn, and good morning, well, YouTube and Twitch. We appear to be everywhere, but then we always are. Alchemically, we're everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Remember, it is already nearly the end of July. It's July. It's nearly August 2026. I nearly said 2027 yet. But to be honest, time is irrelevant, isn't it? Because it's subjective. We just imagine we've got time. But where we are in time and space is relative to who we are and what we know about time and space. So today, we've got today again. Because, like I say, today might have happened. It might have already happened. It might be happening again. It might have already happened yesterday. And we're happening today because those things that we didn't learn then, well, we'll get today again. Which is why today is called Today Again. And I need you to remember that we have yet another alchemic moon. We've just had all 4 planets aligning. They call it something's basket, or thoughts, I think. Basket, where those 4 planets have not aligned for 100 years. And the guy that predicted this happening predicted COVID before COVID happened, which is a bit scary. Although I remember saying that none of us were ready for a global pandemic. We weren't ready for the end of the world, even though it seemed like the end of the world, didn't it? When we couldn't actually leave our houses. For disabled people, the end of the world, so being today again, which was COVID every day, wasn't it? Was inevitable, and that actually all the able-bodied people, well, they learned how to be doing today again, how to be stuck in their own space without their friends, without their family, not being able to touch or be near anyone, not to have that connection that they so heavily relied on. But, us disabled people, me as a disabled person, we got used to that already, again, today again. Whether we were in hospital or special school or, not really accepted by our family, or we didn't see our family because they didn't talk to us. And many disabled people experience that as a normal thing. But that's okay, because this new moon rising, the full moon on the 29th, just 2 days, is all about releasing, remembering, and rising. So, good morning, my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful humans. I'm grateful for you again. Welcome to the room. Whether you're joining from your bed, like I am in a travel lodge, no, I'm in a Premier Inn, or from your garden, or your wheelchair, or your office, or your car, or halfway through your first coffee, you're always exactly where you need to be. Today we stand beneath the energy of the full moon. Astronomically, a full moon simply means the moon is opposite the sun from Earth's perspective, so we can see its fully illuminated face. Symbolically, however, across many cultures, the full moon has long represented illumination, completion, reflection, and harvest. And August is a great time to think about the harvest of our endeavours. It's often seen as a time to notice what's grown over these 7, nearly 8 months, what no longer serves us, and what deserves our attention. So whether you see that symbolically, or simply as a useful moment for reflection. Today and the rest of this week invites us to pause before we move forward. The full moon doesn't create who we are. No. It simply shines a light on what there already is. Sometimes that's joy. Sometimes it's grief. Sometimes it's possibility. And sometimes it's the truth that we've been avoiding. The question isn't on this full moon, what is the moon doing to me? The better question, I think, is now I can see more clearly, what will I choose to do? This next chapter, this August 2026, isn't about becoming somebody different. It's just about becoming more yourself. Maybe you, maybe I, maybe we, maybe all of us have survived something that we never thought we would. I have this week. I've survived Julian Goodwin's funeral. And you know what? I've got Julian's rhinosaur here. Tell you about that in a minute. Maybe you're rebuilding. Maybe you're starting a new business, beginning a new career, moving home like me. Or maybe you're just finding your voice. I say just. Maybe you're learning to trust yourself again. Whatever season you're in, there's no rush. Seeds never apologize for taking time underground. Trees never compare themselves with flowers. And the moon never tries to be the sun. Everything has its season, just like our due. So today, I invite me and you and us to just let go of what weighs you down. Forgive yourself for not knowing yesterday what you could know today. You can't know what you don't know, right? You can only know what you know when you know it. So celebrate every inch, every second, every part of your progress, however big or small. And just difficult, this one, honor the people who've walked beside you and bless those who can't anymore, and keep walking anyway, or rolling. Carl Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. And Viktor Frankl, the guy who went into the death camps and all his family were killed, said, when we're no longer able to change a situation, we're challenged to change ourselves. That isn't giving up. That's growth. So today's invitation is really simple, and I'm not going to go on. The questions are, I can repeat them again at the end. What are you keeping? What are you letting go of? And what are you finally ready to begin? So thank you for bringing your energy into this room. Wherever you are in the world, whether you're live, whether you're in Clubhouse, whether you are viewing this later on Twitch or Twitter or wherever we are, or Facebook or LinkedIn. May today bring you clarity. May today bring you courage. Might it remind you that endings, even of people, are often the doorway to beginnings. The moon will keep moving, and so will we. So welcome, everyone. You're all welcome here. Let's begin. This week has been, well, a challenge for me. My bestie, we passed over. And his funeral was beautiful for me. It was a difficult one, because there weren't that many there. But you know what? Everyone he's ever known, everyone he's ever loved, everyone he ever touched, everyone he was ever near, they'll have felt his passing. It was powerful because there weren't so many. And when I got there, I met Karen from Clubhouse, because she'd been invited. And that was beautiful. And while we were waiting to go in, I said to her, I can smell something going on here. There's somebody around here. Would you? So I went to the black car outside and I said, excuse me, are you here for Jew? They went, no. And I came in and I said to her, it's not them. I can tell. I don't know who's here, but I'm telling you, there's somebody here for Jew. And out of the disabled toilet walked the celebrant. I said, excuse me, are you here for Jew? She went, I am. Are you his best friend? I said, I am. She went, I've heard all about you. And Karen just looked gobsmacked, like, what? How did you know? I said, I smelt you, metaphorically. I could tell you were here. I want to share this card I've got for you. I want you to read it. Look, read this. And she said, oh, MJ, this couldn't reflect better what I'm about to say. I remember thinking, that's like the moon. Reflecting what we're about to say, or do, or be, or start again. And when I went into the chapel, or whatever you want to call it, I parked myself at the back with my flowers and my card. But on the way in, before I parked, Jay went past, that's his brother, and handed me Rhinosaur. He's with us, but he's up there. Rhinosaur is a rhinoceros that Julian said was a dinosaur. And I said, no, it's not. It's a rhinoceros. And he said, it's a dinosaur. And I said, right, I'm not arguing with you, Jew. We'll call him Rhinosaur. We dressed him in combat clothes because Julian made him at Center Parks with us. We all made teddies. I love making teddies. And Rhinosaur went home to Julian in pride of place next to him in bed. He needs to ring me and say, Ronning. I'm talking about Rhinosaur, obviously, not Jew, although he might have been involved. And then when he said, Ronning, Jew used to say, I'll tell you what, he's got the horn because he's seen you. Behave now. Behave now, our Jew. Behave. But we loved each other. We love each other. He's just over the other side. He's just through the door. And during the ceremony, the celebrant said, Julian Goodwin could argue with a wall. And I laughed out loud. And I said to her later, you know, I never argued with you. I just told him what was, like, it's a rhinosaur now. You say it's a rhinoceros. I say it's a rhinoceros. You say it's a dinosaur. Look, we're just going to combine forces and call him Rhinosaur. I was able to coach Rhinosaur all the way through the ceremony. And before the ceremony began, the celebrant put a hand on my shoulder and said, no, no, no. There's a space and a place at the front on the right-hand side ready for you, MJ. You've got to come down the front. It's already been planned. So I was able to look at you all the way through. Like, thanks for that. You left me in the middle of this. Middle of this degree. Moving to Birmingham. I was going to move near you and you've bogged off. I'd have been 20 minutes away from your house. Like, don't worry about it. Just as I was arriving, you left. But I remember feeling like you said, I've not gone anywhere. I'm closer to you now than I was then. Excuse me. I don't know whether you've lost anyone recently or you found them again when they bogged off. But I feel like I found you again. I feel like he's finally more powerful than he could ever have thought of being. I don't think Jew had any religion. In fact, no, he didn't. He didn't believe in the afterlife, which is crazy when he's there. I'm mocking him now. I'm like, yeah. Now you know. Now you know. See? You could argue with the wall. You told me there was no tomorrow. But it's today again. And again. And again, Jew. Today again. And the moon will carry on reflecting everything you ever were. I met his wife and his daughter, and on the back of her leg, his daughter, beautiful girl, was a Pokemon. And she was talking to her auntie, and I went over and I went, hey, after we'd had a cutch and we'd already talked, and we talked about all sorts of things, including Rhinosaur. And I'd said to the celebrant, you know, that arguing with a wall, well, he thought this was a dinosaur. And I told him it was a rhinoceros. She went, it's a rhinoceros, MJ. I said, I know, but you can't tell Jew out. She went, well, you could argue with a wall, couldn't you? I said, yeah, I didn't argue. I just amalgamated rhinoceros and a dinosaur. Because from both perspectives, we were right. Rhinoceroses are really, really ancient, aren't they? Like, they are the most ancient creatures, like ephalumps. Like, they nearly are dinosaurs. They're just hanging around from ancient times. And I said to Amy, what are you doing with a Pokemon on the back of your leg? I know that Pokemon. I've got her in Pokopia. She went, what? I pulled my Switch 2 from behind my back. Here it is. There's my Switch 2. And I said, Amy, why haven't you got Pokopia yet? She was like, I'm getting it next week. I was like, you're late to the party, babe. I got this for my birthday, which was March. And she went, I'm getting Pokopia. It's the first game I get. It's all about Pokemon. And I said, yeah, and I'll help you make it rain. I haven't made it rain yet, but by the time you get yours, I'll have made it rain. When we make it rain in Pokopia, everything gets hydrated. Everything can begin again. Everything we've grown flourishes. And then more Pokemon arrive. There's plenty at the party already on my island. They're all friends and they love each other and they love me. My name is Destiny. And interestingly, they called me Ditto until they know me. I'm a Pokemon, but I'm purporting I'm a human. I look like a human. I'm dressed like a human, but I'm not really. I'm another Pokemon. They just can't see it yet. And then when they get to be my besties, they call me Destiny and say, hey, I'd like to call you Destiny. Can I do that? Because I'd like you to be who you are. Just like Rhinosaur was purporting to be a dinosaur. And I suggested he was a rhinoceros, but actually he was a both, wasn't he? Because Julian saw him from his perspective and I saw him from mine. And together we joined and knew our truth. We didn't argue with the wall. We connected and made a decision about our subjective interpretation of Rhinosaur. I sat on the way back, went to a pub called the Phantom something, which made me laugh. I was like, I hope you're not going to come here and like be phantoming people, Julian. But interesting, everybody that I met just wanted to talk, and then they wanted to know about Rhinosaur, and then they wanted to know about the whatever you call it. What do you call it? The booklet that came with you. And it had some great photos I'll share with you later on Facebook. I couldn't do it yet. I wasn't ready. The photos I had of our times together were important for me to let his friends and loved ones know what had happened and where he is now and what we were going to do about it. The photos after are important to show that he was here, to show that before I knew him, he was, well, just beautiful, just like he was when I did. G was a massive gamer. He bought Amy a PS2, I think, and she had one game and he had loads. And he used to like it when Amy and her mum and an auntie and whoever went out for the day to go shopping or whatever they did, so that he could sit with Dave and play the PS2 with no kids interfering with the PlayStation. He also loved the Grand Prix. He loved racing car driving. And he used to watch that on a weekend too. You know, towards the end of his life, maybe in the last 15 years, he worked at Booker, and he was known for bringing everything home that was cheap. If there was something on offer, Jew bought it. And Amy reflected that she couldn't eat naan bread ever again because one day he brought home 40 packets of naan bread. Yeah, thanks for that, Dad. I don't need to eat naan bread for the next 6 weeks. Oh, yes, you do, because they were cheap. All the way through the funeral. It made me laugh. They didn't mention his service in the army. They didn't mention he was a paratrooper, even though he was. But they did mention how much he loved the people around him. And I took flowers because the little secret is that Jew loved flowers. He loved flowers so much that he bought silk flowers and put them in the front window of his house. He bought them, he chose them, and he put them there. Not his wife, not his daughter. He did. She didn't really like them, really, I heard from Jew. And they weren't mentioned. But I remember him telling me, him choosing them, so the flowers I chose were simple and white. And the other flowers that were there were just family flowers, and they were white too. And it was interesting that I chose the same colours without ever seeing them, because I don't need to see them to know what they were. I don't need to be with him here physically to know who he is, and I don't need to talk to him directly, because he couldn't talk anyway in the last 6 months of his life. He couldn't speak. He could listen to me when I rang the care facility and said, "Take me to Julian." But he couldn't really talk, and that's okay. He was getting used to being shush. which is what he is now. He's shushed. He's gone for the biggest sleep. But when he woke up on the other side, he went, oh, no, she's right. But I did tell him all the time he was alive that I was right. He just wasn't very keen on the idea. So he'd want to argue with it. And I said, look, I agree with you. There's nothing for you on the other side except what you find when you get there. That'll do. And it will, because now he knows. I asked him while we were at his funeral if he might be able to help me for the next 6 months, because he bogged off before I completed this degree. Because it's been delayed. Not his fault, not my fault. Just Wales hasn't got any accessible placements, just like it was difficult to find him an accessible placement in another care facility, but we did do that in the last few months. And he had an open door to a garden, and he could hear and see the birds. And he was with the flowers, and he wasn't stuck in that pokey hole where he couldn't see anything green. So in the last few months of his life, when he couldn't speak anymore properly, at all, if at all, it was very difficult for him. He was with the nature that he really enjoyed. So Wednesday was challenging. I needed to get a train from Birmingham to the crematorium, and Gemma, my PA, said, oh, it's all right. You're just rolling from the station because it's not very far. Well, it was. It was nearly 30 minutes down the road, and I had to go down a dual carriageway. I was cussing her. I think G was laughing. But when I got to the creme, it was beautiful. And I've decided that I'm going to go and visit all the cremes. And I'm just going to decide which one I'm going to from which one I choose. I'm not going to decide to go to the one near me. I'm just going to go and look at them all. And there's a big reason why I need to do that. Before Julian died, I decided that I have another mission, another vision, another space and a place to put myself. I'm training as a celebrant. A celebrant is a non-religious, Jew would agree and confirm that that's what I should do, because there is no religion, and he's right. But I think he mistook what there's no religion for there is no God. Well, actually, people, you're wrong. And there's no heaven, and actually, you're wrong. And there is no hell, but you are right about that. There isn't, except if you go alone or you do it deliberately, you can't move your energy. That might be what they call purgatory. But you're still in a beautiful space while everybody else is zipping around, different shapes, different sizes. Nobody bumps into each other, and they all zip around doing what they need to do, where they need to do it all the time. Really fast, some are slow. Some are big, some are small, some are brightly coloured, some are white, just like Jew's flowers. And some are simply watching, like stars in the sky. And he's one of those stars now. And I won't be long. Whatever long is, because 70 years and 10 and 4 if you're a good man ain't that long in the whole of eternity, is it? When we look at from here to there and back again, 90 years is really short. So if 90 years is all we've got out of eternity, or 100 for those people that have longevity, or 130, or like in the Bible when we were 600 or 700, or whatever age you get to, and some people only make it maybe for a week. Some souls are born to experience the world for a moment. Some of us are born to experience this training ground nearly forever, it feels like. Drew learned everything he needed to learn. He learned about love, and he learned about acceptance, and he learned that the moon will keep on reflecting exactly what you need to see right back at you till you're really happy about going where you're going. I'm moving into another chapter of my life, I'm moving near to where Jew was, moving to Birmingham, and I've been here for at least 9 days, I think, maybe 10. And tomorrow I get to go back to Cardiff just to reflect on where I've been for the last 5 years, and Jew was there every step of the way. He listened to my assignments, he heard me talking, he heard my frustration, he heard about how difficult it was to become a social worker. In fact, his social worker 5 years ago said to me, well, you might be training, but you're not a real social worker, so I won't talk to you. Which is a bit silly, because now she's got to face me even when Jew isn't there. I've offered to help his wife and his daughter with the services because they're still chasing, they're still pushing, they're still reflecting exactly what they are, which is cash strapped. So as I move to Birmingham, I reflect that Jew isn't here, but he's never left. And that I'm a bit scared, and that's okay. On the 7th of September, when I start here, a friend of mine, a colleague of mine, a client of mine starts learning to become a pilot with flights for the disabled, which I applied to before I applied to be a social worker. And what I realised was I couldn't possibly learn to fly a plane and be a social worker and move to Wales, so I put it off. I literally left it where it was in 2021. I'd applied. Well, now, a friend of mine, a dear friend, starts on the same day. He got his scholarship and he starts piloting, learning to pilot on the same day. So he's already got the books. He's already learning the theory. He's already studying and he's already in the space and the place I'm going after. The news is that celebrants used to just be the people that went to the places that were registered to allow people to be celebrated in their death, right? It was the place. Well, the government are just talking about now, and I've just written back to the inquiry about it, about why celebrants should be licensed themselves. Why it should be the celebrant that we license, not the building. Well, of course it should. Because the celebrant is the person that will take you wherever it is you want to be. We shouldn't be stuck celebrating our life or anything else in a building or a city or a place or a space. It should be heart to heart. There's nothing else. So the government are just inquiring right now about how they should do that. And celebrants don't actually need to train at the moment. Just like when I first trained as a nursery nurse or as a teacher or as a therapist or now as a social worker, we had to have the appropriate qualifications, a master's degree, a PGCE, you name it. I needed to do it. That's why I did 3 of them. And before I even got here, because it was commanded by the government, I couldn't actually have a license without having a postgraduate certificate of education, without having a first degree, without studying for, well, many, many years and 450 hours of supervised practice. And then they devolved it, then they reduced it, then they changed it. So now, well, you can be a teacher in further education without a degree in teaching. You can be a university lecturer without a degree in teaching. Anyone can call themselves a counsellor. It's not protected anymore. Psychotherapy is different. That is still a protected title. Just like social worker is still a protected title. I'm a social worker in training and I will be until February. But only February. Because I've already done the 360 credits that I needed. It's just that the final placement has to be completed. So it's today again. Because this degree has taken me nearly as long as a PhD. So I feel like I've been in Groundhog Day for the last 18 months. And Julian would have been with me when I graduated, if I'd graduated at the time the degree determined. But that's okay. Because I've been doing social work for the last 30 years. Whatever his social worker thought, when I met her, I'd done more social work than perhaps she'd ever thought about doing. Because social work isn't just about your qualification, it isn't. It's not just about the legal responsibility for being able to go to court and take action on people. It's about taking action with people. It's about helping people to take action on themselves, with their loved ones and their family and their lives, and having a choice about what's next. You know, many people that contact a social worker or have a social worker brought into their lives didn't want the situation to be like it is. I had a discussion with a lady yesterday who said to me, well, look at all these drug addicts outside and all the drunks on the street. And I said to her, yes, but they don't want to be there. She went, yes, they do. They don't have to take drugs and they don't have to drink and they don't have to be homeless. And I said, I wonder if you think anyone wants that. We talked about Andy Burnham, our new Prime Minister, and, you know, you probably know, and if you don't, I'm going to tell you, that none of the government are making decisions. None of the MPs you look at are making the decisions about what they do. And Andy Burnham's the same. He doesn't know what the agenda is. They won't tell him. They'll tell him some of it, but, you know, like everything else, it's being puppeteered from above. Just like we are. By heaven. By those who've gone before us, by those who are us, by the whole, because we are it. It is us. You are the moon is you, you are me, I am you. We are us. We all came from a big bang. Whatever you want to call it. Whatever story you're telling yourself, just like I told you. We are one. And you'll work that out after. So whether I finish now or then, whether I'm an officially accredited, qualified and registered social worker or whether I'm not, my social work was in loving you. And my social work in Birmingham is about seeing the very many lives that have been lost between the cracks, that are stuck, finding it difficult to grow where they are, never imagining their life would turn out like this, right? There but for the grace of God go I. That could have been me. Still could. We're all about 3 pay packets away from homelessness, so don't be arrogant, really, about where you are, because where you are is not who you are. And where you're going might not be where you think. But when we reflect in the new moon and we decide our destiny, it is about letting go of the past, letting go of what doesn't any longer serve us, putting that shit down. Because I'm not my trauma. I'm not the experiences that I had. I'm the me who knows the lessons and the learnings from those experiences. But so often, the reason we get into addiction and chaos and homelessness and arguing with the universe instead of reflecting the moon, we're suffering the sins of our fathers. You know, they say the sins of our fathers are revisited on the children. We can let go of that. That lady wasn't right. People don't choose to be drug addicts. They don't choose to be alcoholics. They don't choose to be homeless. They don't choose chaos. Everyone wants love. Everyone. I've never met a bad baby. I've never met a bad baby. So anyone that thinks that people are born to be bad or want to be bad or wish to be where they are, you know, try remembering that person as a baby. Did that baby want this? No. No, no, no. But 100% fully acceptance of everyone's situation where they are right now is the moon's reflection, right? It's when we can begin again, today again. We can begin again. And every day, even if we inch just one step forward, even if we say hello to that person that helps change our lives, even if we befriend somebody like Jude did me and I did him, we make a difference to where we are right now and where we're going. I know Jew will have been very shocked when he got there. And I know he's creating chaos until I get there. I think he needed to go ahead because he had some chaos to create. Remember, he can argue with a wall. I honestly laughed out loud at that point. And the songs were beautiful. The music was children. You should look up that track. There's no words, just like Jude didn't have at the end. No words, but beautiful, emotionally inspiring music. And then the end. Well, Jew liked Disney films, just saying. And he used to watch them with Amy. And one of his favourite was Toy Story. I happened to be clutching Rhinosaur when he played that song at the end about being a friend. I knew that song was about the friendships and the love that he held in the last few years. I knew the flower choice and the white flowers were about Julian's love of flowers and my love of him, and white flowers are about, well, just beauty and the purity of a baby. Because he's back being his own baby again. New to that place we call heaven, that I call the beyond, that I know is the universe, because we're all one. He's back to being a baby again with none of that stuff he had to hold on to anymore, because he hasn't even got this flesh mech to have to worry about. It's just a meat suit we wonder about him, by the way. If you don't know that, then you will do. Just down the road. Just over the next moon. Just beyond this bit now. It won't be long. You might think you've got a long life, but really what's long in eternity? It's not, is it? It's just a moment in time. So I think that today again is really important, because the moon will keep moving and life will keep creating, and you can co-create with life, or you can fight against it and hold on to all your past happenings and worry about today like it was yesterday, or you can let go and you can imagine tomorrow being a better day. Hope is, well, it's creative. So my hope for you today is that you can begin again, today again. Whatever's happened, whatever you did or said or was or didn't do, or said you would but didn't, just today again. And every moment, every day I wake up and I go, look at that, I'm alive. Another day again, until I learn everything I need to learn. And isn't it interesting if we think about death as the moment we've learned what we needed to learn in this lifetime, not as a loss or a sudden ending or a shortened life, because maybe some of us are here for just a moment. The babies that don't get to be born, or the children that pass away, or the young people like our Jew who didn't get to be old bones. He never wanted to be old because he was far too beautiful for that. He didn't want to look old. He used to say, I look younger than everybody else. Nobody thinks I'm my age. And I've got the best head of hair that any person of my age has got. I'm not even grey. And I was like, yeah, I know. It's all right, Jew, you're beautiful. So he was preserved as the beautiful Jew he was. So today, the moon will keep moving. And so will you, wherever you are in the world. Today, again, may today bring you more clarity. May it bring you courage. And may it remind you that endings are often the doorway to beginnings. I truly and honestly love you. And I thank you for your time and your attention and being here with us today. My celebrant journey is going to be, well, interesting. Because by next year, I will be a celebrant and I will be celebrating other people's passing and arrival and weddings and whatever. Wherever they want, you know, whether that's on a boat or a plane or a train or on the moon or at their daughter's grave. They can celebrate what they want, whenever they want, wherever they want, with somebody who truly knows about the next bit. Because I've been. I like the fact I'm right and Jude doesn't know. Well, he does now, but he didn't. And now he's there knowing I'm right. So when I get there, I'm going to be like, see, I said. And meanwhile, he's just letting everybody know I'm on my way. I love you, Julian Goodwin. You changed my life, and you were my bestie. I miss you here on this earth plane, but that's selfish because you're in a much better place now. And it's okay because we're going to have today again together. And you, my friend, are far more powerful than you've ever known about. You can help me greater than you ever realised. And on the same day that we had his funeral, I viewed a permanent residence. Jason Donovan used to stay there. So I think Kylie Minogue might knock on my door. You know, hello, is Jason in? No, Kylie, he's not, but you can come in for a cup of tea if you want. It literally appeared to me. I was told by myself to walk a certain way. I'd never walked that way. And I said, this was 2 days before on the Monday. I said, I don't know why I'm going there. And literally a voice said, walk over that crossing. I was like, all right then. Calm down, me, whoever it is. Maybe it was you. And there was a tiny little shopping arcade. Go in there. I'm like, I don't even want to go shop. Go in there, said the voice. So I did. And in there in the corner was this tiny, tiny place that I didn't understand what it was. I went up and I went through the door and I said, excuse me, there's some properties in the window. Are you a letting agency? And can I have the card or the website? And she went, oh, we're too small for that. Here, I've got a printed list that's stapled. I've got a printed list. What are you after? I said, well, it's not easy. And she went, oh, is it a problem? I said, no, it's a challenge. Just a challenge. We need a place with a lift and a bathroom I can use and 2 bedrooms. And it needs to be central, really. And she went, it's funny that. I've got one of them. What's your budget? So I told her. And she went, well, how would you like to see it on Wednesday? So before I went to Jude's funeral, I went to see my new apartment. It was permanent. The Rent Act has changed things because we don't need a 12-month tenancy anymore or a 6-month. You take it as a rolling tenancy. So I can take a permanent residence, I didn't know, for a month. Give a month's notice if I want. There are no 12-month assured tenancies anymore. So rather than going Airbnb, which frankly was a bit annoying, I can actually have my own space and place here. And that couldn't have happened till May. So the universe knew what I needed. And it put me here at the right time. Remember, Andy Burnham wants to devolve all kinds of power to the Midlands, to Wales, to Scotland, to Ireland. Well, he's not that involved in Ireland, but to all the nations, so that the people that are with the people in the region and the area that they're in or the country can serve the people. And whilst he might be a puppeteer, he might be being puppeteered, it's still a decision to take all of the heat off Parliament in London. And I'm pleased about that. So there are opportunities abundant in Birmingham because it's the middle. Not the mess in the middle, although I always call it that, but the middle of our nation. The middle where I'm going to create one of the biggest parties you've ever seen. And I'll be celebrating there. The middle where I will be staying and then reflecting on where I've been in Cardiff. And next July, I'll be celebrating there and creating a big party as well. We're just going to celebrate going forward because there's no point in looking back and holding on to that garbage. We need to look into the face of the moon and reflect exactly where we are and who we are right now. Let go of the past and pick up the present and forge forward to the future. I've gone on a bit, but that's okay. I've got time this morning. So, Alexia and James, if you've got anything to say, even though I've left it till 8 o'clock like a monkey, I didn't even know I had anything to say, to be honest, this morning. But apparently I had a lot. So, good morning. I love you. I missed you. How are you, Alexia?
Good morning. I'm getting there slowly. It's interesting how life brings us challenges, because sometimes we see them coming and sometimes we don't. All governments at the minute are on a knife edge because we don't know what's going to happen with Russia, with what's going on in various other parts of the world, and the mortgage companies are now getting edgy. They're getting very edgy to the point that they are really downpricing the size of properties. But as you said, these things happen for a reason. Sometimes there's a lesson for us to learn from them. I learned a lesson this weekend. I've cleaned the streets where I am for 8 years now. I've done bigger areas as well when I was more mobile. In the last 3 weeks, I've got to know some children in my local area that I didn't really know, but I got talking to them, and they come and play in my room because it's clean and it's safe. So I got them interested in looking after where they are. I met one of them yesterday, and I'd been out for 2 hours, and I was in a lot of pain by then. Not sure I could. And it was, I cleaned up the pathway because my sister fell over and cut herself. Please, could you help me clean my road? It didn't matter how I felt then. I had to do that. Sometimes life will take us on a journey we don't expect. That was a small, unexpected journey. And I've actually written about that, and I put it out on LinkedIn as well. And I will put it out in other places. Unfortunately, I can't put up all the photos I want to because I'm not that clever with technology. But we all have choices. MJ made a choice that she was going to do that degree no matter where they go to do it. And we're only going to be about an hour apart, so we might get more opportunity to get together. Especially now I've got my access to work back. So I would just like to say to Ju, thank you for what he did, for giving us the opportunity to have a safe life. What could you do to say thank you to Ju for what he did? Because what he did with the chemicals he was told to take, because he was a soldier, he had to take them whether he wanted to or not. I strongly think that had an influence on his health.
Yeah.
Because I know I only take 2 drugs, man-made drugs, that I can't survive without, and that's cocodamol and levothyroxine, and I wouldn't have been able to stand up yesterday, MJ, if I hadn't taken some cocodamol. Went out. So what could you do? You could do one gift for this planet. It's getting dry. It's getting drier. Mm-hmm. Think about what you buy. Think about what you use, how you can recycle it. And that meant a lot to Ju as well.
It did.
He was really hot on things like that. His background, his army background, where he comes from. People up north don't waste anything.
No.
They don't. They find a use for it. Just we can learn from Africa. Use what you find. Don't waste it. So what could you do today? You could pick up one piece of rubbish. You could help a neighbour who can't do something. So please, everyone, I'm asking you, find one kind thing you can do for this planet. I really respect MJ's friendship and James's, because we're there for each other. We might not speak every day, but we know if we need each other, we're there.
100%.
That is the most special gift you could ever have. So I'm going to allow James time to talk, because time is getting on.
It is.
My friend out, I think she might be looking for mischief.
Love you. And James has just put me up the gift of me on my hand cycle ready for next year when we're doing that cycle around London with no clothes on. Good morning, James.
I found myself a face painter as well, but she won't be painting my face.
I found a painter. She'll be painting all of me. She's my new tattooist called Millie, and I'm quite happy. She's coming next weekend or the weekend after to spend overnight wherever I am to do my new tattoo for one day and then the next. So we're doing 2 sessions, and we get on so well. We spent 8 hours together yesterday, and she said, "Well, I thought I'd had a colourful life, and then I heard you lot, because I was on the case management with our Frankie, and I am perfectly happy with her painting my entire body, which she will."
Yeah, I'm getting there now with that little issue of areas that need painting. But as thankfully, I have leather seats that are made in Birmingham, in the first bicycle seat factory in the world. But in a couple of weeks, fabulous civil servant from the JC up here. Last time I spoke to him on the phone, and it's so great to be able to speak to him on the phone now, because it's hard work, really hard work for me to get from that side to this side. And with being in emergency accommodation, and we had an emergency this morning called a fire alarm, which wasn't as early as my alarm, but it was a blessing, because thankfully now this teenager's room doesn't look like a teenager's room now. It's properly, everything's organised. But I literally only got in this room every sort of 28 days. You become further down the corridor, which is nice, because I've stayed in an hotel before where they didn't really move you down corridor too much. But my goddamn keys were haunting. You know that noise? That noise of jangly keys. Not many people will understand or follow my hotel analogy or keys. I won't keep it as our little secret, keep it well locked away. But I was so impressed with what you said about certain brands of social workers, because the key, I think, to good social work, and from what I've witnessed, I'm not a social worker, they are such gifted and guided people that are not judges. They listen, beautiful listeners, and then, well, obviously they facilitate. And there must be hundreds of thousands of them, like an army in the UK. But when I think of an army, I do think of Arju. And it was an interesting week last week, because my emotions all week were dipping, dropping, peaking, dipping, dropping, roller coastering, really. The doctor calls it my bipolar, but I call it roller coastering, because it really does bottom out sometimes. And then on the Thursday, one of my favourite roller coasters had a major incident on. Thankfully, no injuries currently from that, but a very thorough incident was handled by the park owners. So you've got to be thankful. Like one man in a hotel this morning managing 50 or 60 rooms, precise instructions were given out, and we all moved out and waited. And in the end, he had to document it and get the fire brigade in because he just could not get this alarm to stop. But yeah, last week was slightly alarming, but just so grateful to hear that Julian moved from the place I visited him in last July when I was in Birmingham, and I saw the saddle factory because the canals are a beautiful cycle down there. But it was supposed to be for other things that weekend, but mainly to meet Julian. Got a couple of things crashed and burned that weekend, which meant I got to cycle around the canals of Birmingham, but more importantly, got to Rugby and had that hideous cycle from Rugby railway station. It's only hideous if you follow Google's advice. So I would strongly advise that James one day gets the right mapping system for this bicycle, because Google does allow me to hit what I call cycling Tourette's, and I certainly won't want to have you experiencing any of my cycling Tourette's pontification of profanities in this room this morning. But I do feel beautifully blessed to have known Julian just for these sort of 5 Clubhouse years. It's the beauty of this app. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for your consistency with these rooms, especially this year, MJ, because we've all been really struck down with some tough battles this year, but we've fought through. I mean, we've still got challenges ahead of us. Life always blesses you with challenges, but I'm certainly blessed to hear that Ju was out of that nursing home, or at least out of the view to the staff smokers corner. Exactly. And he had that beautiful garden view, because the day I visited him, he was outside in the garden. It was roasting, but it was his room was still that pokey location. But obviously, he'd as soon as he could wake up in the morning, he would vacate to the outside and have a view down that motorway off into the distance. And I know he's certainly motored off into the distance now, but we'll all catch him up. He's just he's advanced planning.
It's the advanced party.
GCHQ advanced planning, I think. I'll look out today and I think, oh God, you're cycling in the rain shortly in shorts, and you've got all your damp cycling gear 3 miles away from here. But it doesn't matter. I'm going swimming, and I hit 50 miles last week, 52 miles of cycling. I did on the Wednesday at Ju's funeral. I didn't get to the flower garden I went to, but I was in a beautiful municipal park in the first ever town I worked in, and it brought that journey that I've been on. It showed it up to me, and I remember that factory. Well, when it was announced it was closing, we actually had Andy Burnham turn up in the warehouse. He was the MP for the area, and he said he'd fight for that place. Well, I'm glad he didn't take up the fight, because a supermarket with much better probably employment things than some of the areas of that factory did. But certainly that factory paid me pretty much as the last factory paid me. And I didn't work the clock like a dog. And I certainly wasn't treated that. Certainly at the radiator factory, they did treat us well there. The Irish fella that owned us paid us well. But in the end, all of the slight underhand dealings, other kinds of dealings as well, and all of that was going on, I would imagine, and if it was all discovered, and I'm sure it was, Mr. Burnham was glad that it shut down, because there was stuff going on there that could never have gone on. But it did make me realise when I got to this other factory, a lot closer to here, that was just repeating the same process, and it was a factory of burnout. I'm not being burned out there anymore, and I'm really beautifully happy to be serving my community with the cycle projects and shops that we're building up now, and we're starting to open more shops all the time, and I'm going to hit me Blackpool cycling mileage soon with a light up a special light up bicycle that one of our gifted electricians at the Cycle Project is going to assist me on. He's already pointed out some of the equipment he's got, and it only really occurred to me in the last couple of days that equipment he's got could advertise our project like a like in the stadiums where they have them screens that have the scrolling words on. We have the facilities to scroll words on there. On stuff, so we're gonna premiere that in Blackpool, I think, later before the lights come on later this year. So hopefully that'll create a buzz. But Julian, certainly, I buzzed when I was cycling down to Julian's. It was the journey was terrible every time because Google wanted me to go through a farmer's field with different stiles, round stiles that you can't get a bike round, and Julian would just laugh. He'd be like, "Why have you not? Why do you still stick with Google?" And why? Yeah, but it was beautiful, the conversations we used to have. So I'm grateful that I managed to still visit Julian when he could speak, because he'd have listened to me rabbit on and on and on, wouldn't he, MJ?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just blessed to have known Arju. I've got a Rhino. It's in the damn container at the moment, so it's quite close to the front of that unassorted
we'll have to meet
unit.
Our Rhinos will have to meet.
That Rhino's coming back to this hotel, and you know what? This is funny. I'm sure when I did that Rhino, I had a fireman's outfit on.
I think you did. I think you put him in. I think that's what you put him.
So this morning, in my budgie smugglers and my dry robe, because I didn't want to cause like a police situation out there. If I'd have gone out in them budgie smugglers, it could have freaked out everybody. But I did think, should I do a quick zip? And I thought, no. There's children around. Better not. Children that were already screaming and dogs that were barking. Keep everything under wraps and control. But I'm sure the Julian in me, the inner Julian, would have just gone. But yeah, it's such a blessing to have just had a little shard of input into Julian's latter days, because that place was a holding pattern for Julian, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And now he's going to produce his best patterns now, I think, so that when we all arrive, we can see how he glows in his next installment, to wherever his adventures are leading him to.
Well,
but yeah, beautiful. Thanks, MJ.
No, thanks for being here. Look, everybody, it's today again. So get on with it, because you'll have a today tomorrow. And you had one yesterday. What you do with it today is up to you. Don't worry about yesterday. It's done. Don't worry about tomorrow, because it ain't here yet and it's not guaranteed. Be who you are. Do what you wish. And enjoy your life, because that's what it's for. I love you all. I'll see you next Monday.
MJ?
Yes, darling.
Quick chat off air, because
Of course we can.
Yeah, I'll give you a buzz in a minute then.
All right, sweetheart.
Because I want to discuss a local disabled group.
No problem.
Yeah.
I'm going down to breakfast, so I'll talk to you on the way down.
Yeah.
Lots of love, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.